Fnatic up 1 game in this best-of-3 series over Gale Force Esports. Gale Force Esports doing something I don't know if I'd have the guts to do, Tetra, which is allow Tomb and the Spider Queen through to Fnatic. Do you think that was the right move?
Nope. Basically, Fnatic have proved time and time again throughout every iteration, basically, of the team and every iteration of their style that Tomb and the Spider Queen is one of the maps they're comfortable on. They synergize well together, so when they are grouped up a lot, they play very, very well. And Tomb and the Spider Queen is one that they are so proficient on because they get to the late game where they're great as well.
Yeah, talk about synergy, that Entomb into Mosh Pit. Hello, so beautiful. Jay-How, another thing we were talking about over the break is that Gale Force Esports were on a lot of non-comfort heroes. This is the first time Crowens played Johanna, Michael Udon on Ragnaros. Do you think now they're going to move back to more comfort picks?
I think they have to. And not only comfort picks, but comfort maps. And we talked about it a little bit before. This would be a prime opportunity for them to take the map pick, take them to Brax's Holdout, where they excel on 2-lane maps. And what we see out of them, going all the way back to the Machines of War Showdown back in September, they were featured on that. And ever since then, they've been a really good team on that. It's almost like we're the first ones in, and we're actually going to be the best for the next 6 months on that map. And they've actually done really well. I'd love for them to see them play more comfort heroes, as well as a more comfortable map to make Fnatic maybe a little bit more uncomfortable.
Well, speaking of maps, we're going to take once again a look at the Battleground pool for HGC. Grubby, now knowing that Gale Force Esports, obviously knowing that they were going to go to Tomb there, probably they were anticipating and have a backup plan if they would lose on Tomb.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult because I feel like Fnatic is good at a lot of maps. They love the global heroes as well, and Tomb isn't one of those, so that pretty much puts you on any other map. It is going to be that Brax's Holdout, and if that's a great way to start to learn to play a map, Jay-How, maybe everyone should play a best of 5 when a map comes out. Kind of jumpstart your knowledge of that Battleground.
They've done, it actually fits a lot of what they do. I mean, we see Fan on ranged heroes. If he gets Vala on this map, it's absolutely terrifying. But we've even seen some Zul'Jin start to come out in North America. We've seen a lot of transitioning. Zarya fits really well into what they like to play. And it really fits their playstyle into their 4-man where they don't have to worry about as much as rotations, where they would prioritize globals, but they tend to be at their best when they have the 4-man with their solo. So we'll see how it plays out.
One question I have is, does Fnatic continue down the path of not being as concerned about Tassadar now? Or is this, now that we're going into Brax's Holdout, the 4-man is such a strong and important part of it? How is that going to work out?
I mean, hindsight is 20/20, and when we look at the way that Map 1 draft developed, I feel like maybe it wasn't as important to pick Johanna up that early for Gale Force Esports, letting Tassadar go through, who was always the linchpin of this kind of strategy for Fnatic in the way that they defined the Tomb of the Spider Queen metagame, might have been a mistake. If I had to pick one, that would be it. Fnatic themselves, they removed Zarya against Gale Force Esports. And I feel like if it's a battle of the shielders, Tassadar cannot be allowed to go through.
We're about to start the draft. We're heading in right now. Game number 2 between Gale Force and Fnatic.
Well, Fnatic seems to have done a little bit of homework. Like I said, if you give Vala over to Fan on this map, it doesn't matter if you have Tassadar or not. He is probably one of the most terrifying. I would say Fan, Vala is probably his best hero. Like, we used to say a lot of Illidan and stuff like that, but in terms of consistency and what you see, it's like a step above. It's actually probably a couple steps above out of most other people we see on that hero.
You sound like a fan.
I am a fan of Fan.
Yeah. So Gale Force taking a lot of time, more time with their bans. You said this is a map they are a bit more comfortable on, and with more comfort comes a little bit more knowledge, and as such, a little bit more confusion in terms of what you think would be best and adjusting to another team, as opposed to this works on this map, so we ban.
There's so much that we see from Gale Force on this map that just, it fits their strengths. You know, I'm looking at some of their old drafts. It seems like they get whatever they want. They've run everything from Medic to Rhaegar to, it doesn't matter. They make it work. Malfurion being the ban. First pick for Fnatic. Will it be Tassadar?
It's been let through. It has wave clear. It works very well, as they showed it last game. So the question is it on their list of the kind of comp they want to play in this map?
Alternatively, they could go with Dahaka. They love a strong solo laner for Wooby, who also has the power to initiate. Dahaka is definitely up there. You can say Alarak to a degree as well, but he has kind of fallen off.
Wobby has shown as well that on this map and pretty much every other map, he is exceptional in terms of the Zeratul. We saw an amazing series versus Dignitas during the main HGC, where Wobby was able to just keep the game going and keep Fnatic ahead for so long, purely just by rotating around the map as Zeratul and catching people.
You can't see him. Can't stop
see
him.
Can't see him in the minimap.
I feel like we might see one of two directions. We might see Tassadar Zul'jin, and I know that sounds crazy, but it could be something else. They might go for an early Gul'dan pickup. It is their kind of backup when they need that extra damage, they need that wave clear. And Gul'dan against Zerg waves has the single best wave clear on this battleground. That is a fact. It's better than Sylvanas. Because of the amount of pressure that he puts consistently, he can clear those waves almost by himself.
Ah,
My goodness.
A battle of the shielders, except they're joining forces on the side of Gale Force.
Hey, I heard you
Esports.
like shields, so I put shields on your shields so you can shield while you shield.
Well, well. Does
so they're
that
picking
raise?
Medivh so they're picking Medivh next, right?
Does that raise the priority of Varian with his shattering throw, which is now a level 13 ability? A triple auto attack damage against shielded targets, an activatable that removes pretty much almost any shield you can throw up.
Where would your
Like to say
solo
yes.
laner fall, though? Varian and ETC are neither one of them excel.
You'd
at the
be in a
solo
triple
lane.
warrior.
Surprise! It's Varian with twin blades. And he is your solo laner.
Well, he hasn't received that buff just yet, which has
No.
been projected to be coming soon. If you do go Varian, you'd be forced into triple warrior maybe, Varian and Dahaka, then that means that Quacknix or Shrimpy is playing on a warrior. Would be a
that's-
bit awkward. It might not be
could
an option.
Rag and just double warrior and have Rag as a solo laner.
Possible. Possible.
But I feel like you run the risk of getting dominated in your 4 lane or 4 man.
Potentially.
Plus, like, warrior heavy is not that nice against support heavy. You generally will lack damage.
So we're seeing Falstad here by Fnatic, very popular on this map. Just allows you that extra little bit of potential to fly up to the top lane and assist your solo laner, whoever that may end up being for Fnatic.
If Zul'jin gets banned out, you got to think maybe Tychus, but Gul'dan is so appealing on this map. Like, it is so it's got to teeter between one of those two. You've got Zarya and Tassadar. You need damage, and Gul'dan doesn't necessarily have the burst damage. He has the clear. He has consistent damage, but I really feel like Zul'jin might be kind of the X factor here.
What is the biggest glass cannon in the game who has really poor survivability but insane damage?
I'm hoping you're not meaning Merc.
Nova.
Chromie also good.
That's the one you would want here. That's what they've set themselves up for. Zul'jin could be that. On the ladder, actually, Zul'jin and Tassadar have a very poor win rate, even though ever since Zul'jin got released, it has been a drool-worthy combination in the minds of people.
This is true. And let's be honest, Zul'jin would fit in with the double shields. That is a Zul'jin ban hover. That would be the first time that's happened during this tournament.
Yeah.
How fast
would make sense.
How fast does a wave go down with Gul'dan Tassadar? I mean, it's just like, here, look, here's a W.
What wave,
Here's a couple.
Jay?
Yeah,
What wave?
all of the waves.
Gone.
Will this Tassadar have to supplement with damage? Maybe a different damage build?
He can.
Even at
That
one?
would be fine. If he needed to, the Tassadar damage build, very viable at this point. And the Zul'jin ban, as you two said over there, really good choice. Would have liked to see it, but it's being denied this time.
The question is, have they crippled the plans of Gale Force, or did they have a multi-branched strategy idea here? Who's the alternative for Zul'jin?
This is going to sound crazy. You need damage. Would you maybe fall away and leave solo Zarya? Since you have the supplemental shields, you know you'll be going.
Yeah.
This could be a possibility.
I
Gale
don't
Force
think
could
Esports
be.
have run it in the past.
Could be.
solo Zarya.
Yeah.
Solo Zarya, and then there's a secondary support. Right now, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking a melee assassin would be very reasonable for them, and a slightly more all-in, like a sort of melee build Greymane, for example.
It could be that you go Hammer. It's not very bursty, but it's lovely to protect her with these kind of shields. I just think
Hammer
maybe
Morales and have everyone stand behind Hammer.
that would be so sick. Hammer Morales and then like
Just everyone
and
stand
Johanna
behind.
in front.
No, just replace. Just Medivh.
That's the stuff
Just
you
with
hop
more
into
shields.
quick match with and be like, guys, let's try it.
Oh, it is Morales!
Well, if we see a Sergeant Hammer as their last pick, that's kind of baiting an auto attacker as we expected.
I mean,
they
that-
haven't got a ranged damage dealer.
The Haka's probably the solo lane here, and the last one's going to be damage. It could still be Hammer.
It could be Hammer. It could be Reyna, Tychus.
It could be Tychus. Oh, you know what? We kind of saw this at Gold Club World Championship. The Ballistics team did it, now known as L5. They went for a Zarya triple, quadruple support Tychus type of
That's
composition.
kind of cool. I
Okay,
like that.
so Leorica Ragnaros for Wubby here.
I would have said Dahaka, but it's been taken. I'm thinking Rag. Or no, I'm still thinking Zeratul. I think that's okay. Yeah, you're gonna get
false that as
shielded,
your
but a
solo
Void
lane.
Prism sort of prevents that kind of setup time and makes the fight a one-shot as opposed to a delayed, drawn-out fight where shield's gonna take advantage.
Yeah,
If this wasn't Gale Force, I'd look at that and be like, all right, this person's on this hero, this person's on this hero, this person's on this hero. But it's like with Gale Force, you just kind of throw your notes out the side and you're like, oh, let's just guess.
Gul'dan, like you said, and
Zeratul.
Zeratul.
Zeratul is smart. How do you stop an army of supports? You stop them. Time stop them
VP them
with
and
Void
you
Prism.
kill whoever they are protecting, which we shall find out in a second. I have my fingers crossed and I'm hoping for Hammer because I like being psychic sometimes. And like you said, Jayhow, Gul'dan, there is really no hero that is just more efficient in terms of the wave clear on this map. It's just so good.
It is. They definitely need some damage here, but is it
What
something
about
like a
another-
Lee Krohn? Is it a Fan Tankus?
What about Karazim?
Just no range damage dealer, just all in. Just finish it with Tyrion.
Karate Karazim.
I would like to see it. I just unfortunately don't think we are.
Dread would tilt
the
harder
dream
than
team.
I've ever seen.
Tyrande.
Tyrande?
Auto
Oh
attack
my
Tyrande.
We are joking about these, but the fact is these are viable.
Oh,
It is
yes!
Hammer! Yes!
What is this?
This
Thank
is
you.
going to be so good. So, like you
Welcome
said,
to the HGC Western Clash
Well,
with Gale Force Esports.
Gale Force said they brought some variety. They were not lying. They have brought out the triple support.
No, they
/ one
didn't.
solo
They got a
laner.
Braxis holdout with a full StarCraft comp. It's guaranteed win.
I don't know, Overwatch hero.
Is this a Protect the Hammer comp?
Oh, that's what I meant.
And yes, it's absolutely a Protect the Hammer.
Zarya's not a StarCraft.
No, she's Overwatch.
What
She fits
a
in.
She does fit in. She was released during Machines of War, so she counts.
Yes, it counts.
what a wild. I think you can only describe it as wild
Yeah.
composition for Gale Force Esports. Who is solo laning? You're gonna have Dahaka most likely up in the top.
Morales, maybe.
She does have self-heal, I guess.
Does have excellent self-heal. You can heal the minion. Probably, honestly, even though it's the only one of his role, well, warrior tank, okay, I think it's the Haka, solo laner. But I don't expect him to stay there forever. I think he's going to pop down now and then, make that a 5 versus 4.
I honestly think they have to put the threat on Gul'dan. We talked about Gul'dan for Gale Force. Now, the alternative is that you have Hammer trying to siege up and push against minion waves, single best when you're in siege mode. But it's really difficult to push into a siege mode when Gul'dan just nails
builds
it.
corruption on you.
Well, just not even corruption, but just clears it with his Fell Flame, goes it through, and then you have to push into what? Nothing. And you don't have that extra protection there.
A wild draft. Fnatic seemed bamboozled by it. We'll see if that's enough for Gale Force Esports to be able to bring it back in this series. We're headed over once again to Trixler and Caldor for game number 2.
Thank you very much, Gilly. And yeah, Wild Draft is putting it mildly, I think. This is going to be a very interesting game, and A has definitely arrived in Europe.
Yes, it certainly will. We have Fnatic here on the far left, and we've seen the Zeratul play in the past from Wubby. You know, the analyst desk did allude to it, but he plays out of his mind on this battleground. Then on the right side, you have Gale Force Esports, and they have a draft that is so Gale Force Esports it almost hurts. They have their Sergeant Hammer set up already, and they have Dahaka. They actually ran a very similar composition in the past on Cursed Hollow, but now they have it here on Brax's Holdout. And Dahaka kind of fills the role that Falstead normally ran in the past, so they get their 5v4s that Grubby was talking about before.
Yeah, I mean, they went full shields here, and at some point when the Zul'jin got banned out, you could really tell that, I mean, the game was running out of auto attackers that could really pack a punch, so they went for the hammer here. And this could actually be quite dangerous, but I want to see how Fnatic is going to deal with this. First of all, we're having Falstead going into the Season Marksman here, already working on the stacks, and Gul'dan going for the Echo Corruption build, doing the exact same thing as Fan is setting up at that top lane.
And I really like how Gale Force has set themselves up to never have to deal with the Zeratul in terms of a flank. They have their scouting drone at level 1, they have Oracle at level 4, their tasks that are Dahaka is me power side in the bottom, he going on slow and help. Can he sneak out? He cannot. And he will fly across the map.
That's a problem, and that's the big problem at that. If you lose the solo laner, all of a sudden you're guaranteed to lose a lot of experience. All that Shrimpy has to do at the top lane is start to stack his Echo Corruption, stay safe and passive to soak the experience. In the meantime, his teammates at the bot lane will do the exact same thing Gale Force is doing. They will push, and we even have Breeze now trying to sneak and even zone a bit.
I love it, because that's the only spot that Dahaka can go that's safe for him to be able to get down there in time. So he goes to clear with it on the left side, so he can't brush talk in, and then Zeratul plays aggressively in the front line, so they miss that experience that you're talking about. out. And you can see the lead at the very top of the screen here that is being earned here by Fnatic. Solid play and solid hold of Dahaka.
That's basically just like one wave that they got extra because they were able to take down the Haka and just like send him packing. At this point, both of the teams went through a fort, and this is actually really important that we are seeing this on the side of Fnatic. If they try to play against Hammer, they're going to be in a huge problem zone because they won't be able to engage the way they want. There's a massive protector Hammer comp with double shields and Morales, so they need to try and counter push. But now they have the option coming from behind because Gale Force needs to go so deep into enemy territory.
Yeah, Breeze looking for the flank. Zeratul over here as well, and at any moment they can call Falstad in. And Falstad has the inherent advantage over Dahaka in a rotation in because Dahaka has to go through the bush. So Breeze comes in, power slide popping out. There's a shield immediately from Michael Udall, and the entire squad of Gale Force Esports is unfazed, but Fnatic unfazed in terms of map control. They have the top beacon and the bottom beacon.
Yeah. Exactly, they are already at 44%. And the important part really is, as soon as Gale Force is trying to go for the keep, they have such a huge distance to safety that it's very scary for them. If Fnatic tries to collapse on them from behind and gets a good pickoff, then it's all over. And at this point, Fnatic is already looking for the first kill of the game.
Michael Udall working some damage here. Akka face in the back, though, in trouble. No shield available as they went to Fan earlier. And Fnatic getting a second takedown as well here. And they continue to control the beacon here on the bottom. Dahaka was able to go top, though, and stop it here at 56%. But more people are currently in trouble as Crow is being focused down. Wubby in the front line, and Fnatic is going full bloodbath.
Exactly what we've been talking about. The distance to safety is so huge. At the top lane, if Gale Force goes for the keep, and at the bot lane, since the fort was already taken out, and thanks to that, Gale Force is losing 2 heroes. Fnatic making the right choices. 3 kills actually already with that one against the Haka, and of course that will result in them controlling both of the beacons once again.
And here's the other problem. If Gale Force actually wants to go in the top lane and stuff that experience, if it's pushing at all, suddenly it's much harder, and Dahaka puts himself in a spot where he can get picked off. So suddenly this early game is looking a little wonky here for Gale Force, just based on how the interactions happen at the very beginning of the game. Fnatic have full control.
Yeah, this is just simply because Fnatic reacted so well against this comp. They immediately realized, guys, we cannot defend the 4 versus 4. This is not happening. Let's counter push, open the map up, and make sure that we can flank them, that we can move in from the side, from behind, get isolation kills, pressure Morales, for example. They did that perfectly. They're at 72% against 0 right now, and they are also heading into an earlier level 7 talent.
Now, with that all being said, if Gale Force Esports does lose the entire beacon control, there is solid defense here. You have your Sergeant Hammer, you have your Tassadar with the wave clear, Dahaka himself can even show up as well, and then of course Zarya can work in some stuff. So it's not too bad for them. They just need to get to 10 and make sure not to have any more mistakes. So overall, Fnatic and Gale Force Esports trying to hold here. Finally, Gale Force sets up in the bottom lane and gets some composure on this battleground. Dahaka's in the top, but here comes Falstad flying in. Akka face gets the immediate shield.
Yeah, they're going immediately on Morales, but at the same time now, Gale Force, of course, trying to turn it around. The Haka already moving in here. Equinox looking for the drag, trying to get it. He gets it against Mexi, and Rega is down.
Equinox coming in with that drag, looking for maybe a bit more here. Now, he did use Brush Stalker, so he's not going to be able to go to the top lane and get that beacon. But the other prize you can grab here, if you can't grab a beacon immediately, is grab some experience. So they push down this front wall, get those turrets going, and eventually at some point they can peel off a member.
And now it's much easier for them. With 1 hero down on the side of Fnatic, Gale Force can set up. Now they can move in, and they have a solid position here. We have Falstad already moving to the top lane, trying, of course, to also save that beacon. And with Zeratul sneaking in as well, the Haka needs to be careful. If he moves out too far to drop that camp that has been taken by Fnatic, he might be in trouble.
Yeah, solid play by Dahaka. He actually plays very safe. He had a slow rotation. He still gets some damage here, but if he went straight to the beacon phase, he's a dead Dahaka. So he does survive here, and this has allowed Gale Force Esports, realizing that Zeratul and Falstad were missing, to put some pressure on this bottom fort. So overall, solid job there from Gale Force Esports, and a better job by Equinox making sure not to die.
And right now, one of the things that Fnatic does is they do not show Zeratul unless they can get a kill, and they're trying to get that at the top. Quacknix needs to be careful, though. The fort has already taken measure, and he is dropping him very low. But Wubby was trying to keep himself out of vision for as long as he could. And you could see that at the bot lane. Gale Force moved back a little bit because they were worried that Zeratul might move in, and when they spotted him at top lane, that was the moment when they turned it against the fort again and dropped it now consequently.
But Falstad and Zeratul have put enough pressure on the top that they may be able to get forward. Equinox was able to back on home. He brush tucked in, missing the drag unfortunately for him, but the fort still stands. It's low on health, but it still stands.
Yeah. I really like this game from a strategic point of view. Both of the teams make very good moves here, especially Fnatic with the reactions against Hammer. But Gale Force also realizing when they have an opening to really utilize Hammer and push in, but they lose again at that top lane. Dehaka, Fnatic with that aggressive move here from Whoopi and Quacknix getting the kill once more.
Poor Equinox at some point just have to give up that fort. They sadly will be taken out, and 9.5 here for Fnatic, with Gale Force Esports about to hit level 9. So definitely in trouble as Fnatic is about to take full control of this battleground, especially with this huge Zerg wave pushing the top lane.
It's just like such a cool game right now to see how the teams are rotating on the map, trying to just like counteract each other's strengths. This is totally fantastic. I'm loving it. The level 10, as you pointed out, is of course now a massive advantage for Fnatic, especially if they are able to get in a good Horrify. They have so many tools. I mean, look at these heroic abilities. There's the Gust potential after fly-in. There's the setup with the Void Prison, the Mosh Pit, the Horrify. This is such an intense comp right now. And Gale Force, they need that 10, but they're trying to defend. There comes the Void Prison. They're trying to get a setup. The Mosh Pit by Breeze.
Man. Wubby is working in the auto attacks. Here's Falstad with a hammering, and 2 members fall instantly here. Zarya and Tassadar, the shield providers. Gale Force Esports needs to seriously consider giving up this keep. Fan trying to work in some auto attacks, but never overstep there, or Breeze will turn this fight around without any problems here. And there goes the keep being taken out. Dehaka has done a good job of pushing in the bottom lane, finally getting his team close to level 10, but Fnatic with the execution has been pinpoint.
Yeah, that was just absolutely incredible. I mean, Dehaka had to move bot lane. You can't really defend without the level 10 ability. The only thing that Gale Force could do was send him bot, say, hey, you go and push. We need the experience up at the top lane. How do you dodge this? I mean, we have the Void Prison set up. Zeratul blinks forward, drops it. It was just incredibly well done here. And Fnatic, they are on the top of the world now.
Breeze, given the task of keeping an eye on Gale Force Esports, is going to be forced to escape. Dehaka came in from the side to go for an aggressive play. It didn't work out for them. Now, with Heroics being available for Gale Force Esports, they're making this play here. The problem is, Mighty Gust just came up, so they need to be careful here. Equinox will have to have a perfect burrow to deal with that pressure.
Zeratul already in the back. There were a lot of mines from Hammer, but they're still going. And Fan is dropping low. All the shields are keeping him alive, but Quacknix still has the Gust available. And we have at the same time, though, also only another 3 seconds until Horrify is back.
Oh man, this is a very intense moment. They're going for it. They're keeping up with the Equinox. I'm watching him. He has to be on point.
There's
Breeze
no
in the front
way.
line. Oh no, he went for the burrow a little bit too early. And Fnatic looking to grab it. The Horrify, the explosion zone. Michael Yudo in trouble. Breeze go for the power slide. Fan taken out. Ancestor healing comes in, but massive Void Prison.
Kill after kill after kill. The Void Prison is gone. 2 heroes down. They're going for the kill against Morales. I mean, that was a straight up grief from Gale Force.
Yeah, it certainly was. Gale Force Esports, they had a solid plan for the most part, try to go forward, but Fnatic was 2 steps ahead of them. The explosion zone.
I mean, what are you thinking at this point? You know you have the Gust against you. The Horrify is in there was just way too much. Fnatic says, thank you very much, boys. We'll grab that, and we're going to drop keep number 2. And I don't know what just happened. I mean, the thought process just completely eludes me.
I think at some point you think that you have such enough control. You have your Tassadar, you have your Dehaka with Burrow, you have Explosion Zone. They just underestimated, as they should not, especially with a good team like Fnatic. They underestimated how well they can control the boss. The control was way too much, and now Fnatic just pushes down this keep, maybe looking for a little bit more. But guess what, Caldor? Beacons are activating.
Beacons are activating. They're trying to get a kill. If they get that, they might move in. Breeze is low, though. He needs to be careful. There was the attempt with the grenade. Breeze is still alive, but for how much longer?
Oh, the auto attack, the last one. Napalm comes out. Can Breeze live? No, he cannot. But man, it took everything in the arsenal for Gale Force Esports to get that kill. And there's still beacons. One at the top, one at the bottom. Catapults pushing both lanes. Gale Force Esports at a spot that I have not heard of a comeback from. If they do this, incredible job.
I don't know how they can, but they are going to try, and I mean, they have to. They're down 1 map already. Greece is dead for another 10 seconds, so at least for now, they're going to avoid that massive Zerg wave rushing towards their core. I still can't get over the fact that they were really committing to that boss. I feel at the beginning, Fnatic actually thought that they were just trying to bait them into a fight.
Well, I think, Caldor, you have to do what Gale Force Esports does. Forget about it. You know, you screwed up. Oops, daisy. Let's get ready and try to win this game, because if they lose this, they fall to the loser's bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, Dehaka at the top lane, once again in trouble. Dehaka is actually getting really low here. Explodes, great kill once again. That combo with Whoopi and Quadnix on the Force-led Zeratul has really been the bane of Dahaka's existence in this game.
Yeah, it certainly has, because he has to go up there, right?
Yeah.
And you have to try and soak it to stay with your team. That's your job as a Dahaka player, but the pressure has been so much. And with Gale Force Esports not having the most mobile rotation because of Sergeant Hammer, they would have to use a medevac just to go help defend their Dahaka, and it's not even worth it at that point.
The pressure against Gale Force is so strong at this point. You could create diamonds just of that. I mean, we have still both beacons under control. The lanes are pushing. How do you stop this?
You pray.
You pray.
Gale Force Esports, please.
Faith.
This is going to be hard. You have Catapults 2 already in the top lane, a third about to join them. Bottom lane in trouble as well. Now, the good news is they grabbed Mercenary Camp, so they have pressure on that bottom to slow down any push that comes their way with the Catapult, so they can focus on top lane. But you have Fnatic, a squad of 5 pushing in here, 3 levels ahead of you. Now 2, but still in a good spot to go for control. They have Mosh Pit, they have Void Prism, they have Mighty Guts, all about control for them.
13 versus 13, the setup is there. Here comes the Void Prism. Priest is moving in, he wants the Mosh Pit. He wants the Mosh Pit. He goes for it and gets one. The Horrifier is already being dropped, but at the same time, there's just not enough damage to follow up the Mosh Pit here. No kill for Fnatic, but the wave is pushing towards the core, and Gale Force is on their last leg right now. They're desperately trying to defend.
The drag hits, Ancestral though is on point there from Smexy. Equinox moving forward, but he gets taken out as well. Crowan on the back left. It's just Fan and Morales. All the damage is here for Sergeant Hammer, but the core is getting low. 90%, moving down to 80%. Some Guardians still here, and this might just be game. Quatnix working in the auto attack. Breeze on the left. Smexy at the same time, bringing in some bites.
Fnatic going in, Cake, another hero down. It's 5 versus 2 as Fnatic takes down their core, takes game number 2, makes it a 2-0 series, and defeats Gale Force Esports.
Fantastic game there from Fnatic. Gale Force Esports obviously having a plan, but the plan having a huge wrench thrown into it in the first 2 minutes of the game with a Dahaka death and a forward. And you can see a team like Fnatic that this high caliber will take that moment and run with it throughout the entire duration.
Opening up the map the way that they did was absolutely fantastic. It was exactly what they needed to do, and that allowed them to get those flanks, get the kills against Dahaka, put pressure on Hammer, Morales from the back. They did extremely well to make sure that Gale Force could never utilize the strength of their composition. And then when they started snowballing that and taking down keeps with that level 10 advantage that they had, that was absolutely incredible.
Fnatic with decisive play, but you still gotta give some kudos to Gale Force Esports. First off, they pulled out Lucio.
Yeah.
Gotta be happy with that. But yes, seriously though, if you're a Fnatic fan, you should be proud of this team right now. They came to the best battleground for Gale Force Esports, and they put on a clinic. So Gale Force Esports obviously know the dry and burns and learn a little bit from that. But Fnatic overall, man, I'm just looking at the screen, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I have to emphasize again how strong that, from a strategic point of view, it actually was what they did here. A lot of teams would have been pressured so much by that Hammer composition, and the thought was really there for Gale Force. I mean, they had a good idea going into this. It's just that Fnatic really found the right lever and completely applied pressure there.
All right, well, let's go to the front and check in with Red Eye.
Thank you very much. We've seen a few Fnatic crowd in the front row like that. We've seen some very close games today. We've seen some very good performances today, but I don't think we've seen one quite as dominant as that. What do you put that down to?
I think our preparation going into this tournament is very good. Like, we know exactly what we want to do and so on. Even though like the first game didn't look as dominant, like we know as long as we stay even in that comp, we're gonna outscale them. And yeah, we just have to do our game and make sure they don't snowball us. And yeah.
Were you aware of the hype that we all kind of built this up as the best game maybe in the quarterfinals, at least the most competitive, and yet actually it was probably the least competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I do it for the fun, you know, to like get everybody started. It's always fun to fire shots at NA because they're actually so bad, you know.
There had to be another one, didn't there?
What?
There had to be at least another shot then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know there was some friendly banter. You get on well with these guys, presumably, as well. Did you expect it to be quite that straightforward, though, with all of the talk that we'd had about how good these guys were playing and they were prepared and they're almost like the best team in NA right now and they feel they're very confident? Was it surprising that it was so straightforward?
Not really. Like, we're expecting a 2-0 considering we get our drafts or we adapt good in drafting and just play our game, but obviously when it all comes down to stage and everything, anything can happen, so we just got to make sure to never underestimate.
You guys have been in the top 3 of EU for a long time now. We've known all about last year and the year before, and you've sort of bobbed in between being the top and then the second and then the third and what have you. Has it been easier for you having all the attention on Misfits this time round as the team that have perfect record and they're coming in as the favourite? Has that kind of made you a little bit of a sleeper team? Have we ignored you perhaps? And actually maybe you're the favourites for the championship?
Maybe, yeah. That's a thing that nobody really remembers how the games have been played out. Like the score was 3-2, like in all our matches versus the top three teams or top four. But every series should have been a 3-0 for us. No, like we throw on core or whatever. Like it could have been a clean 3-0. So, and going into this tournament as well, regarding how practice has been going and so on, we feel like the strongest team. But yeah, we've been there, done that, and still never like managed to get as far as we should. But I think this is our tourney.
Yeah, I got a sense of that yesterday. I'll just finish off with you and we'll go back to the panel. But I walked around you guys yesterday and you're all chatting, you're all very calm, all very relaxed, still practicing, still talking amongst each other. There seems to be something different. What is it that's different about Fnatic this year than perhaps it was, say, the middle of last year?
I think ever since like our show at BlizzCon, like we have grown so much as a team, and it gives us a lot of confidence. And yeah, playing on stage, because that was usually the problem where we feel super strong screaming and so on, but we have to translate that into the actual offline events, and I feel that we have finally managed to take that step.
All right, well done on the first win of the day, and good luck in the semi-finals. Fnatic are our fourth and final team into the upper bracket semi-finals. We'll see them in action tomorrow. Let's head back to the desk and find out what they made of our last quarter-final in the upper bracket.
A longer game followed by a pretty short game, guys. It seemed Gale Force Esports had all of the strategies figured out, but man, Fnatic had all of the counters at the same time. You can't shield when you're dead, as we'll see in our first replay. They were banking a lot on having those shielding heroes, getting Tassadar and Zarya, but it kind of comes down to what they could do with them, and this was such a difficult moment for them.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the control that is offered here by Void Prison. Perfect gust, not even an inch off, isolating these two targets, not even a cleanse or grenade possible.
It was nicely executed there, and that just shows that they're on the same page. Yes, Quacknix is their shot caller, but they are definitely in sync with each other, and that's kind of the biggest thing is they've stayed together a long time now, and as he said, it seems like they're on another level since BlizzCon, and at BlizzCon, it was like it was like they were almost bloomed, but now they're like a fully bloomed team to where it's like, yeah, were we sleeping on them? I don't know. So many teams talked about this team as Fnatic being probably the favorite, and they just came out and dominated in what should have been one of the more highly contested matches.
Yeah, you make a great point, and the domination continued as we go into the next replay. Tetcher, that boss steal that Fnatic were able to get from here, it was a risky moment, though, for Gale Force.
Yeah, 5 heroes alive with Gust up, and then instead of going away from the boss when it was at half health, they stay for enough time for Horrify to come up. The expulsion zone not allowing to stay on the point thanks to Gust. The fear just pushed everyone away, and they just gave up everything, and then you can see Fnatic, perfect fight control, Void Prison being the backline, killing off people off to the side. They dominated that fight. They dominated almost every other fight except for like the one time that Hammer was able to chase down ETC.
I hate to be that guy. Gale Force kind of dominated themselves because Burrow was used early, Expulsion Zone was used early, and then the Mighty Gust was just like, well, this is easy to capitalize on.
They used all of their boss steal materials while the boss was alive.
I mean, if they had got the last hit there, it would have been fine, but it was just like 1 second too early. I think anybody watching that just shows. I mean, that's not a secret.
It was cool, though. I liked that fight. It was kind of like a Western shootout. They put all their cards on the table, and they said, okay, here I got 3 of a kind. I've got Burrow. I've got, the Expulsion Zone. But it was just a little bit off. But that's the difference, isn't it, between Fnatic and Gale Force? The draft idea was pretty cool. We saw the 4 versus 4 trading. It's just in every little thing that mattered, every detail that distinguished a team, Fnatic came out a little bit on top. And I'll tell you what, it's a very scary team, Fnatic, with their mechanics, their rotations, that also does their homework, that doesn't have the arrogance to discount a team like Gale Force Esports. Fnatic, world class here.
Tetcher, it all started too with Equinox as the hawk up in the top, constantly being taken out by that 2-man gank squad of Quacknix and Wubby.
I feel bad for him. He got absolutely dominated just due to the 2v1. He didn't have a huge amount of an opportunity to really fight back. If you are 2 versus 1 against 2 heroes who can dive as deep as Falstad and Zeratul, you're going to have a rough time. He did what he could. At one point, he very nearly pulled off a move that we saw earlier of killing someone under his own tower. He killed off Quack.
He nearly pulled off a snitch.
He nearly pulled off a snitch, but he was just short of doing so, and then about 10 seconds later died when they just went back in.
You must construct additional pylons.
What's going on, Heroes fans? Yes. I'm so excited to be here with you in Poland. My team knows how much you guys love your heroes, and especially your StarCraft. And we've brought you something very special today. It's my pleasure to announce the worldwide premiere and machinima trailer for the newest addition to Heroes of the Storm. Please give a warm welcome to Probius. Cute, right? So curious and expressive. Probius is a new range specialist we're bringing into the game. He summons iconic Protoss buildings like the pylon and photon cannons, and he uses this to defend and attack and do all sorts of stuff. He plays like a setup mage that needs time to establish his territory, get zone control to his team, and deal massive amounts of AoE burst damage when given the chance. He'll be hitting the Nexus in a few short days on PTR, and you can check him out there. And in a short week, he'll be on live servers, and we can't wait to see what you do with him. We have a deep dive panel here on stage and on stream coming on Sunday, so be sure and come in, check it out. We're also going to be announcing some new online UI features like party frames and the massively requested re-release of the On Fire system for Heroes of the Storm. And yes, give it up, give it up. And if that was not enough for you, what patch would really be complete without some talent updates for some of our other heroes? So we'll be seeing updates for Cho'Gall, Arthas, Anubarak, and Gazlo coming into the game in this same patch as well. So again, come check it out on Sunday. We can't wait to show you all of the juicy details, and thank you so much.
He's so my Bay wing, but I think this might be the dawn of the era of Pro Bayus because he was so freaking adorable. And Grubby, another Protoss hero now in the Nexus.
I've made millions of probes in my life, but I've never had one that cute. I want it.
Adorable. All right, well, we have so much to talk about, obviously, but we are going to be headed to a short break. When we return, we will have our first elimination match of HGC's Western Clash, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
Hold on to hope. It will not abandon you. The eternal conflict continues between the forces of good and evil. Evil will triumph over those who give in to despair. But despair cannot defeat the power of hope. Hope is the voice that will never be silent. Hope is the stream that fills the wells of courage. Hope is the light in the darkness. And in the